I have a question for you. What would you do if you stumbled upon a sound so chilling, so otherworldly, that simply hearing it could change you forever? This isn't fiction. What you're about to hear is rooted in history, religion, and one of the strangest paranormal phenomena ever recorded. Welcome to the Nightside Archive. Tonight's story: the Devil's Choir of Basilica San Martino. The Basilica San Martino sits quietly in the heart of a small southern Italian town. Its gleaming facade of aged limestone hints at nothing more than centuries-old worship and peace. But what lies within its walls is something far darker. I'm talking about the Devil's Choir, a haunting tale of sound, sacrifice, and supernatural terror that spans decades and defies explanation. In the early 18th century, Friar Jakamo della Croce, an ambitious and deeply superstitious cleric, was sent to Basilica San Martino to restore its waning congregation. At first, Friar Jakamo appeared to be just another priest dedicated to the work of God. But whispers soon circulated among the locals. They spoke of strange chants echoing from the church at night, chants that were as beautiful as they were terrifying. People described melodies that carried an almost hypnotic quality, something that felt foreign, even unholy. The friar dismissed the rumors, claiming that prayer and worship were to be heard within the sacred walls. Yet some locals insisted these weren't prayers at all. They said the voices incorporated languages they couldn't identify. They weren't Latin, Greek, or Hebrew, languages often associated with the church. No, this was something else altogether. Something old, whispered, and eerily melodic. And then the disappearances began. Over the course of 10 years, 7 young parishioners from the surrounding villages vanished without a trace. Witnesses describe each of the missing persons as having visited the basilica shortly before they were last seen. Authorities at the time chalked it up to runaways, deaths by misadventure, anything but foul play within the church. But those closest to the story believed otherwise. They began to suspect that Friar Jakamo himself was behind the disappearances, that he was using unconventional means to fulfill some dark purpose. Concern grew when local children began to mimic the haunting tunes they'd heard while playing too close to the church. Mysteriously, these children all suffered recurring nightmares shortly after. They reportedly dreamt of the basilica's grand organ, an instrument almost as old as the structure itself, but not how they'd ever heard it in day-to-day worship. The organ in their dreams played itself, the notes pulsating with a strange, almost otherworldly power. Many of the children fell ill, plagued by hallucinations of cloaked figures whispering secrets no human ear should ever hear. Most horrifyingly, one child swore she saw Friar Jakamo standing in the shadows of her dream, his fingers crimson with blood. In 1739, the town had finally had enough. The bishop ordered an investigation into the basilica, sending a team of theological scholars and musicians to determine the source of the Devil's Choir. Their arrival marked the calm before the storm. Records from the investigation recount their initial findings. No bodies, no foul play evidence, not even an irregularity in the day-to-day practices of Friar Jakamo. On the surface, life in the basilica was as mundane as glass in the sun. However, their skepticism cracked one cold November night. At precisely 2:13 a.m., it began. Every member of the investigative team was roused from their slumber by what they described as a symphony of decay. The music emanated from the grand organ, whose keys moved as if by phantom hands. The sound was chilling, both mesmerizing and horrifying. It seemed to rip through the walls of the basilica like thunder in a hollow cave. Voices layered each note, harmonizing to form an unearthly melody. The team reportedly sat frozen in place, unable to flee or even cover their ears, as the music reached its terrifying crescendo. Then, just as suddenly as it started, the organ fell silent. What occurred in the moments after was kept locked away for centuries, hidden from prying eyes. But we do know one thing. Friar Jakamo was found dead, slumped over the organ as though he'd been conducting the whole thing himself. His face still bore a smile, a horrid, knowing grin, as if he'd heard the music of heaven and hell both. Despite the friar's death, locals claimed the music persisted. Over the years, multiple people reported hearing faint echoes from the basilica, though no one has been able to force the organ to play again. Paranormal researchers who have studied the site report bizarre electromagnetic fluctuations and strange surges of cold air. Even bats refuse to nest inside the structure, with small colonies gathering just outside its towering arched windows. Even in modern times, visitors describe bizarre phenomena within the basilica. Some swear that if you stand in absolute silence near the organ, you'll hear faint whispers, not of music, but of words, a language as alien as it is enchanting. Tourists have reported feeling sudden waves of vertigo, others uncontrollable tears as if overcome with inexplicable grief. What then was the devil's choir? Was it the friar's descent into insanity, simply an elaborate hoax, or something darker? And more importantly, why does it endure? Some theories suggest that the basilica might rest upon the remnants of an older, pagan site, a place where rituals far predating Christianity might have left an imprint on the land. If that's true, then perhaps Friar Jakamo unwittingly, or maybe even purposefully, opened an auditory gateway to a realm where our laws of time, sound, and physics dissolve. Still, none of this explains the enduring power of the organ itself. Musicologists remain puzzled at how it could create such harmonic complexity when there's no evidence of tampering or mechanical manipulation. Is it the world's oldest unsolvable mystery? Maybe. But I leave you with this. If you ever find yourself near the Basilica San Martino and hear the faintest melody through the still air, don't stay to listen. Some doors, once opened, can never be closed again. Thank you for watching this chilling installment of the Nightside Archive. Stay tuned for more stories shrouded in shadow.